We have in our studio with us, joining us virtually, Segun Olojo Kosoko, who is the CEO and co-founder of Two Can Solutions, owners of Donate NG and Ubuntu Hive.
All right. I mean, you're privy to this information, the gist, or I mean, the narrative of Precious Gaza, how she defrauded her friends and others who supported her, and with a sum of $53,400 is it pounds collectively. Yeah. What is your take as regards this story and how it will affect other people who really need help?
No, that is. May I first say thanks for this opportunity to discuss this topic with you guys. And I must say what you did was despicable. It is one of the reasons why platforms like Donate NG was created. And is it something new? I would say no. It's been there from ages past. It's been there from the days when crowdfunding was not even a thing on the internet. So people would always defraud. And it's not only peculiar to Nigeria, it's not peculiar to Africa. It is something that is widespread across the world. So Precious was just like any other human anywhere in the world, Europe, America, anywhere. What she did is prevalent, but when we set up to start Donate NG to 2015, this was one of the things we wanted to combat. This was one of the chief ills in the society that we saw, that there were a lot of illegitimacy, there were a lot of fraudulent practices around that, as the lady that spoke in the earlier video was saying, would not encourage donors to want to pass away with their hard-earned money to support any social cause. Yes, we've seen it in the past, we've experienced it ourselves, but what we always push and what in our platform is always push is to solve those two problems. One is to ensure that we have fraud-free campaigns, and every donation that are being made go to the right hand. Now, if Precious had used the crowdfunding portal, it would have been a different thing. A crowdfunding portal that actually carries out checks first to know, is this a fraudulent request? And then the donors also know that their funds are going into the right places. And then the crowdfunding portal with all the instruments around them to ensure that they are following the right practices of crowdfunding, are remitting the funds to the right places. For example, those funds should have gone to the hospital where she's expected to take the bone marrow transplant. A doctor should have vetted if she actually had a bone marrow transplant needed, and if the funds were actually being raised. So those are the type of things that are issues that needs to be resolved.
All right, Mr. Segun, if you can turn on your camera so that we can see you, that would be nice, so that our viewers too can engage with the authority on this conversation. Now, out of interest, your platform, you've spoken about your platform. What kinds of information does your platform request for from people who want to start campaigns, so as to actually, to be able to verify the authenticity of such campaigns?
So we do a lot of KYC to know your customer, i.e. we want to know where you're raising the funds from, what form of identification you've got.
Right.
We want to get if it is a medical case, for example, have you collected a diagnosis or from a reputable hospital or medical lab or whatever the case might be. And this we normally would proof check from. For example, if you're a charity, we would have checked with the CAC. There are a lot of KYC processes that we do to ensure that people are doing what they should have been registered with the organization, that the claim that they are making is correct. So we do, if it is a community fundraiser, we do also do all those checks on our side to make sure everything is as it's supposed to be, to the best of our knowledge. So there are a lot of checks that we do. And when we can vet that before we now approve your campaign for it to be available for the public to see.
Okay. All right. Thank you for this breakdown, because people really need to understand what they need to look out for when actually saying, okay, I've seen that there's a crowdfunding for somebody. I need to check. How do I verify? How do I verify? Thank you for that explanation. Now, as regards still within this transparency and accountability, how can, now this is not just for maybe like a donate NG. How can an individual as a person now like know how to be accountable to, or how to request accountability? For example, I've donated my money here. What are the processes for me to ensure that I need to find out how this money is being spent? What are you doing? How do I keep reporting? How do I keep finding out? Is there a way? And now this is why, so that if, for example, like in Precious's case, if this is false, how do we get that person brought to book and ensure that justice is served, so that, I mean, those who really need this help can get it when we see that the wrong people are being arrested?
Yeah. So the first thing is, the crowdfunding market is a market of trust. It's an industry of trust. So when people donate, they donate in what we call a donor-led crowdfunding environment. So it is not that you are expecting a feedback, as it were, but the feedback you're looking for is the impact of what you've donated to. Now, the first point of call is the crowdfunding portal or person trustworthy? So do you trust this person? So if a family member of mine comes to me and say, we're raising money for a friend in my school, I will trust my family member because I know he's my family member. So the first point of call is, who is raising that fund? Is that person trustworthy? The second point of call is, how is the person raising it? Is he using a direct bank account? So if I'm raising money for Precious and I'm raising it and the account name and number is my account number, you should be thinking, should you not be giving this money directly to Precious? So what the lady that, in Precious' case, what should have happened is the donor should be asking, how is this money getting to Precious? Now, if there is an explanation, or Precious can access our account, Precious is bedridden, so we will not be able to retrieve that account. And the question is, why then do you use a trusted crowdfunding portal? Now, when you're using a trusted crowdfunding portal, you trust that crowdfunding portal to actually do the right thing. Then the final step is you keep track of it's just like an investment. You have a vested interest in that money that you've parted with, even though you've given it in free will. You've given it just to be happy. You've given it just to help someone. The last thing is, you want to find out, how is this person doing? How much was raised? But the onus is also more on the fundraisers themselves. They should, and this is one of the things we preach, and when we do webinars and create literacy programs, we always tell fundraisers to ensure that you keep an update with all your donors, prospective and those who already donated. Oh, we've raised 1 million naira. Oh, we've got 4 million naira left. We've raised 30 million naira. Precious is now on our way, or whoever the person is now on our way to the surgery. Those type of updates. So majority of the onus and responsibility is on the fundraisers to keep the donors abreast of what the situation is. And if, for example, God forbid, the person passes, then you need to let them know, oh, the person has passed, we raised this amount of money while this person passed, this is what we were going to do. I'll share a quick story. A lady was raising on our platform, someone was raising money for a sickle cell patient on our platform, and she needed it for an operation. And 3 months, a couple of weeks down the line, the lady that needed the operation said she didn't need the operation anymore, that she's now fine. She needs something for living. Like someone that is healthy, that she's healthy now, that she needs a shop. And the lady said, no, I raised these funds for you to go through an operation, not for you to open a shop. So the lady that raised the funds on our platform insisted that we do not remit the money to her, because our process is we would have remitted the money to the person that needed it, or directly to the hospital that where she's going to perform the operation. But the crowdfunder herself, the fundraiser, said no, it was not for a shop. So I would rather you give back, refund the money to everybody that did donate to this crowdfunding cause. And that was what we did. And we had to create a mediation between them. This is what the fundraiser said, this is what you want, but That's not, for the ethos of crowdfunding, that is not what it was for. A few years back, another example, a Nollywood celebrity was raising funds for another Nollywood celebrity on our platform. And there were a bit of, quite a lot of Nollywood celebrity had donated to this person. And she wanted to convert the money to something else. And I had to call her and say, look, people in your industry will cry on your neck if you allocate these funds to another person. Yes, but the other person is a celebrity, is also a Nollywood celebrity. No, but you use this person's face
All right.
and condition to raise funds,
Okay.
not for another person. So
All
those
right.
are things that we've seen in the industry
Very
that
interesting
people
story.
actually check.
All right, very, very interesting story, Mr. Segun. And I've liked that we've spoken about the role of fundraisers. We've also spoken on the role of donors to do due diligence in ensuring that, the campaigns that they are getting involved in are actually, legitimate and all of that. But what role do regulatory bodies and government agencies, what role can government agencies play in monitoring and preventing charity organizations from exploiting their platform for profit generation?
Yeah, good question. The truth of the matter first is regulators are not doing anything enough to one support, find the level playing ground for these organizations, and check what they are doing. There are a lot of charities that are people just create charities because they have a flair for it. They are using their house addresses. They have probably don't have a bank account, and some when they have a bank account, they are not even doing they are not doing their books to show that to the charity commission this is what our books are and that. So now for the government and policies that they bring and that does not provide any level playing ground or a conducive environment for these people, and Nigeria as it is, nobody would want to listen. So you're not doing anything for me, I'm not getting grants from you, I'm not doing anything from you, I'm not getting anything from you. So it's a bit challenging on that front. But then what governments should be doing, it should be ensuring, like any other organization, to check these people on a yearly basis. What is your turnover? What came in? What did you spend? Probably just like your normal, what would I call it, due diligence with any organization. For the Charity Commission, it should be the same for every charity and non-profit organization to check their books, to check their operation, to check where they actually operate, and put policies in place to support and make sure that these organizations thrive.
All right, now, so we've seen a whole lot because of the fact that people like Precious have already messed up the system, and now there are still people who really need help. How can charity organizations as a whole regain and maintain public trust in the wake of these instances where profit motives are the undertone of the agenda of several other people who are using it falsely?
Yeah, my recommendation would be just keep at it. For those who are legitimate, they should keep at it. For those who are not, posterity will catch up on them. It's just a short period of time. But what they can do, what charities and non-profit can do, is to always be up in the forefront of people, to let people know what impact they are creating, to let the public know what impact they are creating. Not just I'm a charity, this is what I do, but impact is key. Being able to display or demonstrate or showcase your impact on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly basis is key. At the moment, there is no organization in Nigeria that actually awards charities or non-profit organization on what they do. They don't get any pat on the back for well done. We've got so many other organizations that support the awards. You've got Nollywood, you've got the music industry, you've got everything, other industries, but no industry as its way supports or give kudos to non-profit organizations. So the only way they can tell their story is to always show their impact, to ensure that they can gather the trust that people need to have in them before
Right.
for them to be shown as legitimate.
All right, Mr. Segun, thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning. You've answered, we're glad that we had an expert like you come on this particular topic. It goes without saying, actually, tea or coffee for our fundraiser for raising, awareness for children with special needs. We actually use Donate NG to raise, we raised 1 million naira for Olojo Compensatory Center, a school dedicated for special needs, and we use your platform for that particular campaign. The experience was lovely, and so we want to just celebrate you as much as we're having this conversation. Celebrate legitimate fundraising campaign. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Please come back when we call, and thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that is Mr. Segun Olojo Kosoko on the topic of conversation this morning: charity as a cover-up for profit making. He has raised a lot of very interesting points, as regarding, donors rather. You've come across a campaign, you are emotionally driven to send in your money. Before you do that, do due diligence.
Yes.
I remember there was a time, I think 2 years ago, there's something I usually do on my birthday. I pick a particular cause and I raise money for it. I was raising money for a particular school, and I picked this particular school. And then I approached my father. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I would like you to donate to this school. And the first question he asked me, are they registered? I was like, and then the second question he asked me, hey, let me have a look at the account number. It was basically the headmistress. It was her name that was on the account number. And he was like, he can't support it. And I was like, why? It's legitimate, because I had spoken at length with the headmistress. It's a cause, it's a school that I know very well about. I know it's legitimate, but for him, he doesn't know. And then he was like, it's not, they don't have because they hadn't gotten their charity number yet. They're not a registered charity organization, and most of all, I'm not even paying directly to the school. Yes. I'm paying to a particular woman that he cannot support the cause. As a matter of fact, even if it hurts me that he didn't, help the cause I was, campaigning for, it is actually a legitimate reason. It's a legitimate concern, and I feel like that is what I would do now if somebody approaches me with a charity campaign that they are raising. Due diligence. Are they registered? What is this about? Who is this money going for? What are they asking? These questions is important. And same thing from fundraisers. If you're going to come up with a campaign, you need to actually, first of all, do the right thing by actually submitting this money for the cause that you're campaigning for.
Of course.
But, if you're using crowdfunding platforms like the one our guest mentioned on the show this morning, do due diligence to ensure that, you are actually doing the right thing morally and ethically, really.
Of course. And one thing that struck me, see, we always need track record. We need to see what you're doing. That's what struck me. Create awareness on the impact of what you're doing. How impactful will it be in the lives of whom you're getting these monies for? That's what really stood out for me.